NEC 220.20 provides guidelines for calculating electrical loads in commercial kitchens, specifically addressing deductions for certain types of kitchen equipment. It's crucial to understand which equipment qualifies for these deductions and which are excluded. The code explicitly states that space heating, ventilating, or air conditioning equipment does not qualify for the deduction, even if it's located within the kitchen. This exclusion is based on the principle that these systems serve a broader purpose than just supporting specific kitchen appliances. Now, let's address the specific question regarding hood fans and vent fans. While a hood fan is indeed a type of ventilation equipment, its primary function within a commercial kitchen is to remove cooking fumes, smoke, grease, and odors generated by cooking appliances. It doesn't function as a general space ventilation system in the same way that a dedicated air handling unit would. The key distinction lies in the direct relationship between the equipment and the cooking process. Equipment directly involved in the preparation or cooking of food is generally eligible for the deduction, provided it meets other criteria outlined in NEC 220.20. Because hood fans and vent fans are directly related to the removal of byproducts from the cooking process and do not provide space heating or air conditioning, they are generally not considered space heating, ventilating, or air conditioning equipment for the purposes of this deduction. Therefore, under NEC 220.20, they are typically eligible for the demand factor reduction. To clarify further, let's consider some examples of equipment that would be considered space heating, ventilating, or air conditioning equipment and therefore excluded from the deduction. Firstly, a rooftop air conditioning unit serving the entire kitchen space. Secondly, a unit heater used to warm the kitchen during cold weather. Thirdly, a general exhaust fan that is primarily used to circulate air throughout the kitchen rather than specifically removing cooking fumes. In contrast, equipment that would typically qualify for the deduction includes firstly, commercial ovens. Secondly, ranges. Thirdly, fryers. Fourthly, dishwashers. Fifthly, food warmers. Sixthly, mixers, and seventhly, other appliances directly used in food preparation. It's important to consult the specific language of NEC 220.20 and any applicable local amendments to ensure accurate interpretation and application of the code. The local authority having jurisdiction, or OJ, has the final say in interpreting and enforcing the NEC. Furthermore, it is vital to maintain detailed documentation of all equipment included in the load calculation, including manufacturer specifications and model numbers. This documentation will be crucial in justifying the application of any demand factors or deductions to the HJ. Now, let's discuss some key considerations when performing load calculations for commercial kitchens. 1. Accurately identifying the connected load of each piece of equipment. This information can be found on the equipment's nameplate or in the manufacturer's specifications. 2. Applying the appropriate demand factors from NEC 220.20 based on the type and quantity of equipment. 3. Ensuring that the calculated load is sufficient to meet the actual operating requirements of the kitchen. 4. Considering any future expansion plans or additional equipment that may be added later. 5. Accounting for any diversity between different types of equipment. For example, it is unlikely that all ovens, fryers, and ranges will be operating at their maximum capacity simultaneously. 6. Verifying that the calculated load does not exceed the capacity of the existing electrical service. 7. Coordinating with the utility company to ensure that adequate power is available. 8. Consulting with a qualified electrical engineer or contractor to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. 9. Reviewing and updating the load calculation periodically to reflect any changes in equipment or operating conditions. 10. Maintaining accurate records of all load calculations and supporting documentation. In addition to NEC 220.20, there may be other relevant sections of the NEC that apply to commercial kitchen load calculations, such as those addressing motor loads, lighting loads, and receptacle loads. It is essential to have a thorough understanding of all applicable code requirements. Also, consider the impact of energy efficiency measures on the load calculation. For example, using energy-efficient appliances or lighting can reduce the overall electrical demand of the kitchen. It's important to factor in these savings when determining the appropriate size of the electrical service. Think about the coordination between the electrical system and other building systems, such as the mechanical system and the plumbing system. The electrical load calculation should take into account the requirements of these other systems. For instance, the exhaust fan system may require a dedicated electrical circuit, and the water heater may also contribute to the overall electrical load. Now, let's elaborate further on the application of demand factors in NEC 220.20. The demand factors are essentially multipliers that are applied to the connected load of various types of equipment to account for the fact that not all equipment will be operating at its maximum capacity simultaneously. These factors are based on statistical data and represent the average load that is likely to be imposed on the electrical system under normal operating conditions. The specific demand factors that are applicable to a particular commercial kitchen will depend on the type and quantity of equipment installed. NEC 220.20 provides a table of demand factors for various types of kitchen equipment. It is crucial to carefully review this table and select the appropriate demand factors for each piece of equipment. In some cases, it may be necessary to interpolate between the values provided in the table. For example, if the kitchen has a quantity of equipment that falls between two values listed in the table, it may be appropriate to use a demand factor that is interpolated between the corresponding values. Also consider any applicable footnotes or exceptions that are associated with the demand factors. These footnotes may provide additional guidance on how to apply the demand factors in specific situations. For instance, there may be an exception that allows a higher demand factor to be used for certain types of equipment that are known to have a high duty cycle. In addition to the demand factors provided in NEC 220.20, there may be other factors that can be considered when performing a load calculation. For example, the operating schedule of the kitchen may influence the overall electrical demand. If the kitchen is only open for a limited number of hours each day, it may be possible to reduce the calculated load accordingly. It is crucial to have a clear understanding of the kitchen's operating schedule and to document any assumptions that are made in the load calculation. Another factor to consider is the diversity between different types of equipment. For example, it is unlikely that all ovens, fryers, and ranges will be operating at their maximum capacity simultaneously. By carefully analyzing the kitchen's operating procedures, it may be possible to reduce the calculated load to reflect this diversity. It is important to note that the application of demand factors and diversity factors should be based on sound engineering judgment and should be supported by adequate documentation. The AHA may require justification for any assumptions that are made in the load calculation. Let's delve deeper into the specific requirements for hood fans and vent fans under the NEC. While these fans are generally eligible for the demand factor reduction under NEC 220.20, it is important to ensure that they are properly installed and wired in accordance with all applicable code requirements. This includes ensuring that the fans are properly grounded, that the wiring is adequately sized for the motor load, and that the fans are protected by appropriate overcurrent protection devices. In addition, it is important to consider the location of the fans and to ensure that they are installed in a safe and accessible location. The fans should be located so that they are not obstructed by other equipment or materials and so that they can be easily serviced and maintained. The NEC also contains specific requirements for the wiring of exhaust fans and ventilation equipment in hazardous locations. If the kitchen contains any hazardous materials, such as flammable liquids or gases, it may be necessary to install explosion-proof fans and wiring. It is crucial to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or contractor to ensure that all applicable code requirements are met. Now, let's discuss the importance of coordination between the electrical system and the mechanical system in a commercial kitchen. The electrical system provides the power for the mechanical system, including the hood fans, exhaust fans, and air conditioning units. It is crucial to ensure that the electrical system is adequately sized to meet the demands of the mechanical system. The electrical load calculation should take into account the requirements of all mechanical equipment, including the motor loads, the heating loads, and the cooling loads. It is also important to consider the control systems that are used to operate the mechanical equipment. The control systems may require additional electrical power and may also generate electrical noise that can interfere with other electrical equipment. Coordination between the electrical and mechanical systems is essential to ensure that the kitchen operates safely and efficiently. In addition to the mechanical system, it is also important to coordinate the electrical system with the plumbing system. The plumbing system provides the water for the dishwashers, the sinks, and other kitchen equipment. It is crucial to ensure that the electrical system is properly grounded to prevent electrical shock hazards in wet areas. The NEC contains specific requirements for the grounding of electrical equipment in wet locations. It is also important to consider the location of electrical outlets and other electrical equipment in relation to plumbing fixtures. The electrical outlet should be located so that they are not exposed to water or other liquids. Coordination between the electrical and plumbing systems is essential to ensure the safety of kitchen workers and patrons. Furthermore, it is recommended to conduct a thorough site survey of the commercial kitchen before performing any load calculations. The site survey should include a detailed inventory of all electrical equipment, including the nameplate ratings, the operating voltages, and the control systems. The site survey should also include a review of the existing electrical service and the available capacity. This information will be crucial in determining the appropriate size of the new electrical service. The site survey should also include a review of the existing electrical wiring and the grounding system. Any deficiencies in the wiring or grounding system should be corrected before the new electrical service is installed. It is recommended to involve a qualified electrical engineer or contractor in the site survey process. They can help to identify any potential problems and to ensure that the new electrical service is designed and installed in accordance with all applicable codes and regulations. After the site survey is completed, the electrical load calculation can be performed. The load calculation should be based on the information gathered during the site survey, as well as the requirements of NEC 220.20 and other applicable code sections. The load calculation should be documented in detail, including all assumptions that are made and all demand factors that are applied. The documentation should be retained for future reference and should be made available to the AHA upon request.